and welcome to Nintendo Nostalgia. I am your host, Ryan Black, and I am joined by my co-host, Jacob Rush, and we are back, and we are playing with power. Jacob, how's it going this week?
Ryan, it's so good to hear your voice. I'm sure our listeners are going to smile the moment they hear you start the episode off versus me. I'm doing all right, hanging on. I got 4 kids, got a dance recital to get to later on today. Got a baby to drag along the process. Life is hard.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good and it's hard all at the same time. So, and sometimes it's very stressful and not so great. But I'm alive, hanging in there. I'm very blessed with lots of good things. So, doing all right.
Awesome.
How about yourself?
Good to hear. I've been having a crazy go about it with medical stuff going on with my spouse. So, been hanging in there.
But I'm thrilled that you're back.
Lots of time in the hospital, so I'm glad to be spending some time at home. We're still battling, fallout from allergies and everything, but most of the stuff's under control. We got medication that we needed that's working, and we're just kind of hanging out and chilling. We don't have a whole lot planned this coming summer, so I've got time to game.
Sweet. Fantastic, man. That's good. I mean, again, I know you've just needed some time to figure things out, and I'm glad you have, and been praying for you guys, and I'm really just happy to have you back. We sent out a thanks to Traven for jumping in and helping us out with a couple Mega Man episodes last month, and we're really grateful for that. And he's a great friend, personally and of the show. And now we're ready to look forward to the summer. It's going to be a fun summer.
Yeah. We kicked it off, perhaps this is a little bit of what we've been radical Xing about, but we kicked off the Summer Games Fest and had some exciting announcements. So it's definitely that video game announcement season, and we've got Nintendo's one coming up here soon. But yeah, I guess that does segue really well into, so let's just get into it. Let's get into what we are radical Rexing about. Okay, Jacob, it's been a while since we've caught up. What you been radical Rexing about lately?
Well, this is great. I don't normally go first because normally I lead into that segment and let the guest go first or the co-host go first. So, there's non-quick gaming wise, since paternity leave, I've been focused on health and nutrition. I'm finally, I feel like I'm in the zone where I'm seeing results and I'm happy and I can continue the progress I'm on. So I'm finally slimming back down. I'm wearing a medium tight tank right now, a workout shirt. And I mean, 3 months ago, no, my gosh, no way. I couldn't even squeeze it on. And now I got work to do still, but the fact that I can fit into some smaller clothes is really encouraging. I also got, granted the pass to do summer school, and summer school is so easy. This is the easiest money I've ever made in my entire life. I mean, I'm shocked. It's literally, I show up from 8 to noon, Monday through Thursday, just for this month. And students can come anytime between 9 and noon, and all they're there is for me to unlock a test or enter a question they have. That's it. I mean, I'm literally just sitting there. I mean, I'm working on some stuff. It's plenty of time to work on extra school stuff for the next school year. So It's just like, it gives me a great reason to do things while I just kind of hang out and help kids. So it's awesome. And I feel like it's a great way to ease in off of my paternity leave to instead of just jumping back in full go to school and teaching full on lessons. This is a great way to kind of ease into that. And then I'll get all of July off until school starts. So, but outside of that stuff, I'm excited. We always want to say E3 time. It's not E3, unfortunately, but I feel that out of the death of E3, this season, I feel like because E3 existed, this time of the year will always be the season for gaming news. It's like that halfway through the year, what to expect. I don't think that will ever go away. I really don't. Because we've seen the seeds of what's come in the place of E3 now. I mean, in the past, I would have cared to watch Summer Games Fest, and I really didn't watch the whole thing, but I did tune in. And that was exciting, you know, and I kind of, because it's just for like gaming as a whole in the industry. And it's cool to see that thing is there, and I think it's trying to overtake what E3 was, and to an extent. And then obviously everyone relies on their own individual company directs now, and we already had Sony go. I think Xbox is this weekend. Is that correct? Microsoft?
I'm a little bit behind the times on that, so I know it's with the next couple weeks.
It's either this weekend or next, but I think it's this weekend.
We'll probably see.
And then obviously the mysterious.
They're doing a separate Call of Duty one, or they're not really naming it, but we all know it's Call of Duty. And then of course they've got their individual, not Call of Duty stuff showing off before that.
Right. But then the mysterious Nintendo, we know will have a direct because they had confirmed that, but they have not said when, and which is annoying because that we could still have our E3 Nintendo hangouts with all the guys if they would announce this ahead of time, but they don't. And again, I've said it multiple times. It's so funny. I finally have a job where I never have to worry about requesting work off again for an E3. I was always on my biggest paranoia. When's it happening? When's it happening? I gotta get it off so we can plan this. And then I finally have a job, and like, oh yeah, E3's dead now. So great, that's fantastic.
We can still hang out.
But yeah, no, you and I, we're going to try to definitely hang out. I mean, at least Ryan and I, because Ryan and I, we live pretty dang close, you know. So, and I think it's easier between us to maybe do something. I don't know if Nintendo can. We'll have to plan quickly if Nintendo gets something put together, but for when they do. But you know, it's not just those companies. You got indie games dropping announcements now, and Playtonic finally announced something for the first time, like actually about them, not some game that they're publishing.
Yeah.
So if you followers are not loyal, I won't even say loyal, but just fans of the Rareware era for Nintendo, like the Banjo-Kazooie, Donkey Kong Country, Teams, Diddy Kong Racing, all those stuff, GoldenEye, Perfect Dark, that era, you know, they started Playtonic Games. A lot of people from those eras, because they're not with Rare anymore. And you guys have, if you were an early listener to the show, way back when, we talked about Yooka-Laylee, the announcement of it. We talked about the game, and when it came out, we reviewed it, we analyzed it, and it had a lot of mixed reviews, and people were criticizing it a lot. And then they immediately, like the next year or so after the game came out, they announced another game and the storyline, which was great. And that was Impossible Lair, and it was different styles, kind of like a Zelda overview look down, and but side scroller like Donkey Kong Country, which was just really, really fun. I mean, we love that. We have a great nostalgic memory of beating the Impossible Lair at the very end. That was tough, and that was a fun challenge. And it's one of those challenges where, like, I know it's so brutally difficult. It's like I'm not motivated to ever do it again,
Right.
Because I did it and that was good enough. But maybe one day, way in the future. But remember, it was you, Brad, and I believe. And no, it was you, Traven, and I. You, Traven, and I were at my house, my old house, and we beat it. And it was just an exciting time. Mm-hmm. After that, they announced their plans to. They had like the subsection of their company called Playtonic and Friends, where Playtonic Games, for those first two games, relied on, I think it was called Studio 17 to publish their game. Playtonic wants to become a publisher of games. So in the process, Playtonic now has moved over to the role to publish video games for other companies that were basically like how they were, smaller indie game companies, and put their games out to people and publish them and get them in stores and advertised. And they've been doing that since that was 2019. They started this endeavor, I think, in like 2020-ish.
Yeah.
And it's been like 5 years since Playtonic put out a game themselves in the Yooka-Laylee story or into the universe with that. And honestly, as a fan, it's been very frustrating and tiring because when Playtonic existed, we've wanted more of this Banjo-Kazooie feeling games and this built on this universe. And I believe that they could have done more by now, but I feel like their change in direction as a company slowed the process. Now, with becoming a publisher, I think have made a ton more money than they would have just putting out their own games. And they still are making their own games, and now they announced one, and that game is Yuka Replayly, maybe, I think, yeah, Yuka Replayly. And then essentially it is ukulele redone. And I have mixed feelings on it. I saw it. My heart is happy when I see it. Initially, I'm like, yeah, this is cool. I'm glad that we're finally getting a new game from them. And essentially, you can't even say HD remake because the first game is in HD. And it's just basically I feel like they have been taking all the money that they've been making from these publishers and their own games, and they just threw it all into like where we are getting the best of the best technology to make games with. And they've hired more staff to do this, and they've been working on redoing this game. So if the first game felt like maybe this game could have come out during the GameCube era, I'd say this makes it jump up to like this game is made for a modern like PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5 era platformer now. You know, if you played Mario Odyssey and you play ukulele, there's a distinct difference in like how it looks and how it feels and how it sounds. Original ukulele is definitely of the past, but Yuka Replayly, I apologize if I'm saying that wrong. I think that's how it's it. But they've made it for like if the platform was created for today's audience of games. Yeah. You know, the new robot game coming out for PlayStation 5 in that vein. Fully orchestrated stuff. They've redone things that people really hated about the first game. The graphics, like I said, the graphics overhaul, if you just look at it, entirely polished up and different and more detail. It looks nice. It sounds nice. And I will get it. I will not get this, and I will play it 100% all the way through, and I'm excited about that. However, on the other hand, part of me feels like it's been 5 years. Why didn't you just create your sequel? I mean, like, I want to see the story progressed. I'm not ready. I personally don't think it was necessary to remake the game that you already made when you only have 2 games in your library. And I think that was kind of silly. I really think you could have made, Ukulele 2 and really just take all the criticisms from the first game and improve upon them for that game. And I don't know. I just would have rather seen a progression. I want to see more added to their library of their catalog of games, and technically not the same game, just redone. Again, with that said, I'm still buying it. I will get it. I imagine it'll come out just right now. It says it's only up for like Steam, PC, but I 1000% know that that's going to come to consoles. And I'm sure it'll come to Switch too, as soon as it can. I think they're playing the cards differently too. When the first one came out, they announced it for Wii U. They announced it for PS4, Xbox One, whatever was at the time. They had a lot of backlash when there would be a delay because the Nintendo switched over to the Switch, and then it was like a year late to the Switch. And I think they're just kind of like, well, they don't have to do that anymore. They can kind of release at their own cadence now. And I think that they will. And they did say on their Twitter, I saw that this is one of like multiple projects that are in the works. So, that's good to hear that there's other things going on. That's what I want. I would love to see, if they pop out, 3 games within the next year and a half, you can just forget any complaint I have right now. Because then, like, okay, sweet. But, overall, like I said, I'm excited about it. I'm glad that they're alive. Good to see that you're alive and actually working on something, not just publishing stuff and making money. For other companies. So overall, I'm happy. I am happy. Just wish they could have been a little different of a first-time announcement from them in years. But overall, it's exciting. It's going to be a good season. I mean, gosh, we are waiting for the Nintendo Direct to drop because we will devote an entire episode to that. Probably right away, not on a regular release date. We'll just record it, drop it. It's going to be awesome, Ryan. So this is a fun time, exciting times. It's summertime. Sorry, I'll shut up. I'm talking a ton, and we got a full episode to get to. Ryan, tell me, what are you radical rexing about, my friend?
Yeah, I did want to talk a little bit about like my feelings on Yooka Replay.
Sure.
So I'm actually really excited for this because my experience with ukulele on Switch was poor at best. Because I experienced a lot of tearing, my game crashed, it would chug. It got to the point where I couldn't even play it. Eventually, I was able to go back in and play it, and get through that part that was really chugging. But it was not a great experience for me, and it took me out of the game enjoyment. I later enjoyed some of the other levels and things, but overall, I was pretty disappointed in it because of that game breaking bug or whatever that thing. It just I don't know, it really bothered me.
I don't know if I ever experienced that.
I had to wait for a patch for them to put that patch, which wasn't indirectly, or it was indirectly fixing it, I guess, because they didn't really mention that. But I came back to it, was able to pick it up and play it again. But it was pretty bad on Switch, and I'm sure that it's a comparable experience now. It's been it's so old if I were to go back and play it, but. I'm excited to play it when it looks
dirt
better.
cheap now too.
I'm excited to play it when at a better version of it that's optimized, and I feel like it's what hopefully backers of the Kickstarter. I hope it appeases the backers of the Kickstarter who didn't get quite what they were hoping for. And I know that the game didn't review super well. People complained because it was older style, and it was what it was supposed to be, but it lacked some certain charm or something, and I'm hoping that this replay will give it that spit polish and that shine, but also add some things, quality of life things and controls mechanics and things that make the game definitive version of a 3D platformer, spiritual successor to Banjo-Kazooie that it was always touted to be. Not to say that they missed the mark the first time through, but I know some people were disappointed with it. I believe it was Kyle Martin, that was also our artist for the show. He didn't like it that much. He felt like it lacked some certain spark of originality, or
Tom hated it,
and it seemed kind of empty. And I'm hoping that this gives it that spark of life and gives us the version that we deserve. And it kind of fuels the fires for people to want more from them.
Sure.
Not to say that those people who liked ukulele just because it was a spiritual success for banjo, and they want to see it succeed, I hope that they make this version, definitive version, deserving of seeing, having people wanting to see more from these two characters that are great.
Not to, I won't steal the show here, but I mean, just to add to what you're saying,
they need their identity.
Yeah, it really hit the nail on the head. I think you were getting home runs from the intro of the game to the first world of the game. It really, that was this feels like Banjo-Kazooie. The feelings, the humor, the talk, the outside of the main hub world, and once you go in, and obviously the songs. I mean, it sounds exactly like Gruntilda. It's not the same, obviously, but it just gives you the same feelings that the Gruntilda theme would play. In Banjo-Kazooie, the bump up it's its own version, and they really hit the nail on the head with that stuff. And then it's just once you get deeper into the game, the other levels I don't think stuck the landing as well, and they had the Banjo-Tooie issue. They felt really big and not much to do.
It's funny. The one that you hated the most was the one I liked the most when I played it. The casino level.
Oh, that's the one thing I said when I saw the commercial. I'm like, great, I have to suffer through that world again. That's exactly what I said to myself. I hate that song. It is, it drives me nuts. And I always listen to music. We're the opposite. You'll turn it up. I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to turn the music off for that level. But yeah, like you said, I think parts of it, I cannot sit here and say that this game was a 10 out of 10, but I can definitely, I think it hit the head on the hit the hammer right on the head of the nail, whatever I'm trying to say. It got it right, but for a parts of it, and then they dropped the ball for a lot. And I think I for the fact that it's taking them so long, I would like to hope and trust that they are definitely making sure that this is correcting all the complaints of the first one, for sure.
Yeah, I hope that it gives us
continue
what we want. So, all right. So to get a little bit more into what I'm Radical Rexing about, I have been playing a lot more Fortnite. I played through the entire season last season. I've cooled off quite a bit this season, this new season. It's kind of like a Fallout, Mad Max style, almost kind of a Twisted Metal feel too, kind of season, and it's not super like interesting to me. So I've cooled off quite a bit from the initial Fortnite hype, and I've started to pick up some other games. And I'm continuing my my 2024 RPG whirlwind experience. And so I've got on my backlog, I have Super Mario RPG, I've got Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door, and I've got another playthrough to do of Sea of Stars. And I'm just wrapping up a playthrough of Dragon Quest IX again. And that's a game that I could play for countless hours. And I just basically play until I'm like tired of the grind. And then I'm like, okay, I'm done. I can move on to something else. I feel satisfied. So I'm gonna wrap up the story in that game and move on. And get really digging into Paper Mario, Thousand Year Door, because it's my first time experiencing the game. And then I'll be going back to Mario RPG. Just basically, I'm going through a bunch of different RPGs this year. I'm making that my primary focus.
I get my GameCube copy back now?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll be talking with Nintendo Wire, Josh's podcast with Cody. And I'll ask him, like, I know he's got a copy of the game that he sent me the disc was damaged. So, but his case was the real case, and I'm wondering if I could like pay him for the real case and just like hand you back the real case with your actual game, so you have a complete copy. Because the one that you gave me was like a GameStop printed like cover or something like that.
Yeah, that was the only worst part about it.
So I'm gonna see if I can work something out with Cody, and see if I can't, since it was a damaged copy of the game, like see if that was something that he'd be willing to do. And so he basically said I could indefinitely borrow it while I was playing it, but then it didn't end up working. So I want to see if we can work something out there.
That'd be sick.
So, but as far as other games I've been playing, mostly it's backlog stuff. So like Star Wars Hunters just came out, and so I'm wanting to get into that. It's kind of like it's basically Star Wars version of Overwatch. And I'm very, very curious about how that's going to play. It's kind of an arena battler type game. Looking forward to that. At least that's how it's been described. I'm going to be picking that up. I'm going to find some friends to play with. And then, we've been on a really, really big Star Wars kick here at my house. With Draco recovering from spinal surgery. We've just been watching a lot of Star Wars, getting caught up in all the series. Like we started with Mandalorian season 2 because we left off at 1 and just stopped there. And then, we went through that, and then we went through Ahsoka, and we're watching some of the Clone Wars, and we're watching the Acolyte as the episodes come out, and just getting a full digging really a full view of the extra content outside of the movies that we've been missing out on. We did start Andor. We're slowly making our way through it. It's not the most engaging, not the most exciting. So, it's a very slow burn, and while it is a decent show, it's a bit on the political and drama side of things, and it's not necessarily our pace or our preferred, media or method of which we would experience Star Wars stuff, but it's still cool to get some of that backstory and learn more about the lore and what goes on in those things. We very, very much think it's kind of like the Clone Wars, episode 2 of the Star Wars episode, or, TV shows, Just that like there's a lot of like political debate and like a lot of like just talking the Senate and the political subterfuge and the espionage, and it's just very thick. So we're trying to get through it, but we're supplementing it with episodes of the Clone Wars, which Clone Wars, if you know, it's like 7 to like 9 seasons of 22 episodes each. So that's a huge undertaking. So we're kind of doing that, just like one episode a night, just slowly getting through it, learning some of the backstory of what happened. We're getting a full like tour of the Star Wars universe that's there. And really enjoying that and seeing how things connect together. And we also watched the Book of Boba Fett, which was really great as well.
Well, I mean, I liked the Book of Boba Fett, but there's definitely some stuff I did not like about it as well.
Yeah, I think most people's complaint was like the mod squad and their shiny speeder bikes or whatever. And that slow speed chase through the city. But Draco made a good point on that, was like, if those people were in like a city like Coruscant in like the party district or like a party planet or something, like they wouldn't look out of place at all. And so it's like it's the equivalent of people being in like farm country, driving down the road with these ridiculous souped up like bikes or something. Like it just and like being like completely clad in punk and just like completely out of place in their element. And I think that fits the teen culture idea, and that really does fit. But it was really, really cheesy, that chase scene and everything. But yeah, everything else like there was a lot of like Mandalorian content there that helped tie some things in, and I think overall it was a good experience. Just I like Boba Fett's my personal favorite of Star Wars series. Just like he was always like the one that I thought was really, really cool. And beyond that, like I absolutely was obsessed with learning more about Mandalorians, and so the Mandalorian has really, really scratched that itch, and it's really what I wanted from Star Wars, is to learn more about the Mandalorian. When I heard about like their culture and how they're kind of like the yin and the yang to the Jedi, and how the Jedi are like no attachments and kind of loners, or like two people like master and apprentice, but then they split off. And then like the Mandalorians are all like, band together, camaraderie, like, heritage, and really clinging on to traditions and things. And so like they're very opposite and at odds. It was really cool to see that. And it's just kind of something that I've really, really enjoyed. And so like, again, getting into Star Wars Hunters, I'm looking forward to that. And a couple of other games that I have that I need to get around to, like, I guess they just released a new summer update for Hogwarts Legacy. I'm hoping to get into that and play some more Legacy, but I'm pretty much I'm still trying to stay pretty focused on my RPG run through. So not completely committing to other games, but dabbling here and there, and I'm finally off of my Fortnite kick. So but yeah, that's pretty much what I've been Radical Rexing about lately. I can't say I've got much else going on. But you know what? This episode is quite long enough. I think we could probably just call it here and do our actual episode that we had planned for next week. It's we've got a lot of content. We don't want to keep people waiting a long time. And we've already got the content queued up for this commercials episode. So I think we can kind of just put a bow on this episode. We talked about the things that we're Radical Rexing about, and it's long overdue. We haven't had this time to hang out and talk about our lives together. And just, update our fans. And I think that makes an episode in and of itself. What do you think, Jacob?
I mean, I think that's fine, actually. To be honest, it's been too long since Ryan's been on the show, and we've missed you, man. And it is gaming era season, and I think the fans would appreciate a short and sweet episode, a shorter, medium-sized level episode. But yeah, no, that's great. Would you like to just tell everybody where they can find us real quick?
Yeah, let me get that pulled up here. It's been a while. I'm a little rusty, let's just say. But you can find the show on Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music at Nintendonostalgiain, on Spotify, Amazon Podcasts, Pandora Podcasts. You can find our Facebook at Nintendo on TikTok, Nintendo_NOS, X Twitter at Nintendo_NOS, You can find us on Instagram at Nintendonostalgiain. Shoot us an email at Nintendonostalgiain@gmail.com. And you can give us a call on our Nostalgia Hotline, share your memories, and show us some love at 317-969-5690. Guys, that brings us to the end of the episode. Thank you so much for listening this week, and we will catch you next week for an awesome commercials episode. Later, Preston.
See you then, guys. Bye.